All right, so I'll take a little bit of time to explain this part. Um, I'm sure we went over it in class. Not sure how much time we spent on it. So I'm gonna take a little time, and then tomorrow not as much. Okay. All right. Now, very quickly, as a brief review of what we learned so far, here we got a box plot or box and whisker plot. From the smallest value to the first quartile, it contains 25, a quarter of all the numbers. So imagine like all the numbers that I gave you, right, in the activity. Remember the one, the index card, right? All the values in there. 25% of them is from the smallest to the first quartile. Here, from the first to the second quartile is another 25%. From the middle, from the median, right, to the upper quartile is 25%. And then from the upper quartile to the final part, here to the highest number, largest value, it's also 25%. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, all right, and I should have explained this in the lesson. Some of you might be looking at this and say, wait, this part, right, that I'm highlighting in yellow is way bigger than this part that's in red, which is also then bigger than this part, right, that I'm highlighting in green, which is also bigger than this part that I'm highlighting in pink. So in other words, what you might be thinking is, wait, these aren't even the same size. How can they contain the same percent amount of the data? But you got to understand it depends on the numbers. Like the numbers aren't always spread out equally. Like you don't get 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 20, 30, 35, so on and so forth, right? Spread out evenly in a set of numbers, because some numbers could be like, be closer to one another and they get all lumped together, right? So in this case, all the smaller numbers, there are a lot of small, there 25% of the data is lumped in a range. So which means these numbers are actually fairly spread out from here to here. All right. So it gets fairly spread out. All right. Whereas like all the highest, let's say this is a test, right? Let's say all the scores, that all the high scores, like very few people got all the high scores. All right. But that's 25% of the data. Something like that. Okay. So don't get too confused here. Now, what's the question asking for? Uh, what percent of the data value are less than 60? So the question is from here to here, how many percent is contained? Well, you got 25 and a 25. So that's 50%. Okay. How many percent? Do I just write percent? I just write 50, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's do another problem. All right. So that's so now IQR. Let's do interquartile range. Let me erase this. Now, interquartile range is this. It's the difference between the first quartile and the third quartile. So what's the difference, right? In these middle 50%. Think about it like that, right? Because each quartile is 25%. Quarter, right? 20 quartile. Now, that's this, the difference between this and this. So now I got to count these numbers again. 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So this is 25, 30, 35. This is 75, 80, 80 minus 35. Again, there's a word range, right? So let's see what I put in there. 80 minus 35, that's 35, 45. Yep. And that's it. Okay. All right. That's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. Bye now.
OMG, that was so good.